All right, welcome on board, everyone. Another edition of Matchday -1 is upon us from here at St. David's Austin FC Training Centre, ahead of Austin FC against the LA Galaxy on Sunday. MD -1 brought to you by our founding partner, PointsBet. I'm Adrian Healey, and look who we have here, the man, the myth, the legend. He's back for another dose. Sonny G.
Thank you for having me back.
By public demand. You had to be back. Well, also by the fact that Mr. Lahoud is sunning himself.
He's enjoying a nice vacation.
He is. He's actually in Fiji on his honeymoon. So
congratulations!
I'm sure he's
that.
watching.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Wouldn't you be on the beach watching Matchday -1?
I would be. For sure. That's on my top list.
So lots to get into today. Before we do, some breaking news on Friday. Austin FC have another international friendly on the docket at Q2 with Pachuca coming in. Sonny, what can you tell us about Pachuca? We've had Atlas, we've had Tigres. Now we complete the triangle, the hat trick with Pachuca.
That's right. Pachuca is actually one of the most well-known teams in Mexico for having the best youth programs. So they do a tremendous job on scouting, and that's why they're able to produce so many top players. Hector Herrera, who's going to be going to Houston, played for Pachuca. Kakuta Manning played for Pachuca. My first game in Mexico debut was Santos against Pachuca.
In Pachuca?
In Torreon.
Okay.
So Pachuca has a special meaning. If you've ever been to Pachuca, it's not the biggest city in Mexico, but they definitely care about soccer, and they do an excellent job there at Pachuca.
And recently finished top of the Clausura
Finished top of the league.
table,
That's right. And I think just this rivalry, especially after the Seattle game against Pumas, the Mexican teams, I think before, but now even more, have a lot more respect for the MLS teams.
Yeah. Couldn't help but notice now that the three Mexican teams we will have played, Atlas, Tigres, Pachuca, all finished top three in the recent Clausura.
So we got
there's something about...
Yeah. It's getting us ready for our next steps when we qualify for the Champions League.
There's something about coming to play in Q2. So that is June the 11th, and that's actually just the night after the US play Grenada in the Nations League. So a feast of football in mid-June.
Right. What we never had before is now here currently.
Right.
Just top soccer coming in and out of the city. So it's a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. So back-to-back nights, June 10th and the 11th. All right, let's get into the after party, Sonny. This time last week, you and I were previewing the first Texas derby of the year against Houston. It just looked hot and steamy. Neither of us were actually there, but everything about it just looked like it was one of those Houston days. And it was a day that turned out fantastically for Austin after an inauspicious start, I think it's fair to say.
I think so too. And I think that's another kind of check off the list.
Yeah.
Of being not only down, but having your goalkeeper come out. It's not very common for having the backup goalkeeper coming in, Tarbell, and doing what he did was fantastic. So I think the team is just overcoming obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and it just makes for a strong team. I felt like even during the game, it was only a matter of time before the tides were going to turn. The team didn't drop their head. They looked the same, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
And you come back after losing 1-0, goalkeeper having to come out and winning the game 2-1. It's not a bad game.
And again, signs of maturity, Sonny. It really looked like the sort of game last year that they wouldn't have found a way to turn around.
No, it's a totally different team. And that's why I keep saying, like, these steps are huge because we've talked about this. We love winning games 5-0. But in reality, that's just not going to happen. It's can you manage game situations that pop up? It's not like we want to get scored on and our goalie gets hurt, but now how can we manage the situation? And I think the team's doing excellent. We have more consistency in the lineup, so we're seeing like the same players over and over again, which I think is good. It's building better relationships on the field. And the fact that we're not getting scored on a lot of goals. I mean, obviously that was a golazo that they scored on us, and Tarbell had to come up with some saves. But in general, the team defensively looks a whole lot better.
Good to see. You mentioned Brad Stuver, obviously out, back in training this week after undergoing a small procedure, a laceration to his to his right knee. We'll get into some Andrew Tarbell later when we preview the Galaxy game. But as you said, losing Stuver in that manner, something you can't really plan for as a team.
No. Something you don't plan for and you don't ever want to plan, that
Right.
your starting keeper ends up getting hurt and getting scored on and having to make a sub so early in the game. Those are like tragic for a coach, I think, for all those situations to happen all at once. And he's done such a great job. I mean, last year he was a pillar for the team. This year, thankfully, he doesn't have to make as many saves. So he's not like maybe this super Stuver all the time, but when the times come for him, he's come up huge for us. So I think just, again, testament to the defense as a whole, what we talked about. I'm sure we're going to talk about Drusy again, but the way everybody from Maxi all the way down defends helps the team out.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that it definitely happened to Brad, but hopefully he heals up soon.
Momentum, Sonny. It's a hard thing to quantify as a soccer team, but
Even for the league.
Yeah.
Because they still don't. I don't think they give us enough respect.
They don't. No, they don't. We somehow managed to move down in the power rankings this week. I'm not quite sure what formula was employed for that, but now back-to-back road victories, and in both cases we were down 2 goals in DC, down a goal in Houston. When talk about as a player and in a team, when that starts to happen, how you know, momentum is an elusive thing in this sport, isn't it? And it's hard to gain, and maybe it's easy to lose.
It is, and it's hard to maintain.
Right.
And the problem, I think, with the MLS season is just such a long season. So it's figuring out, and we've seen it before, how teams start off strong and could die off at the end just because of how long the season actually is. And even individually and as a team, it's hard to stay at like such a high level. So I think that's going to be one of the challenges for the team, and one of the challenges for Josh is how can we maintain this great momentum and keep it in. I think if our team's able to get maybe like 3 or 4 more victories, we'll start to separate ourselves from the pack, which will help in terms of qualifying for playoffs. But ultimately, you want to get to playoffs at your peak. You don't want to be like on the way down. So I think that's going to be a definite challenge for the team.
And finding that form on the road has come at the perfect time, heading into a stretch. I know we have a big Q2 game this weekend, but after that, I think it's 8 of the next 11 on the road. May and June are tough. There's a lot of tough road trips coming up.
I think these are the games you want to play, because you want to play against the best teams, and you want to match up, and you want to see kind of how you do. So, because you know that at the end of at playoffs, you know that most of these teams are going to be playoff contenders. So these games, I think, are a little bit more meaningful because they're potential playoff matchups 3, 4, 5 months from now when we get there.
The 6. Let's move on to that, because that was one of the things to come out of the Houston game was the first Danny Pereira goal of his professional career. It was a beautiful goal too, wasn't it? In terms of a team goal as well as the finish. What have you made of our number 6 this season? It's pretty amazing seeing the contrast year 1 to year 2.
I mean, I think I saw it year 1. It's just a transition from playing college soccer to professional soccer. That just takes time, just like anything else. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he was the best signing that we've made so far because he was free. So you're not spending any money, and you've got somebody with that much quality. There's not a lot of players that can make that transition that fast. And I think he could be, hopefully not, but that's ever in the plans, the first person ever from Austin FC to be sold to a European team. I think he's got all the qualities to play at the highest level. He's reading the game much better, winning defensive balls. He can score goals. He's box to box. He can run the game. He just has a lot of important qualities. So we're glad to have him, and I think he was definitely by far one of the smartest decisions that the staff have made so far.
And they got pilloried for taking him in many quarters. Again, by some of those same people that are now not giving us any credit in year 2. But I'm with you, Sonny. I keep on saying to everyone, enjoy him while we have him. Because we may not have him.
I mean, I could see a team coming and putting a lot of money down on the table, and it's going to be hard to resist a big paycheck for a player like him. And just to bring in Valencia and for him to struggle to find minutes is also a big testament to Danny.
Yeah.
Just relentless, and he's not going to lose the position. And he's done a great job. And now that he's scored his first goal, and hopefully it's the first of many, a player that can defend, kind of be the glue of the team, create a lot of our opportunities, and now score goals. It's worth a lot.
It's been fascinating to see him adapt to being that out and out number 6, a holding midfielder, because he has so many other qualities that you associate with a more attacking midfielder.
I still think he could play in a couple of other positions and still do a great job. But he's filled the role of a 6 for our team, and hopefully he continues to do so. I don't see him not being able to do that.
Well, now he's broken that seal. Yeah. You know what it's like. Now he's got a goal.
So hopefully he just starts scoring goals, and then we have him on the goal charts as well.
Yeah. Well, I know in that San Antonio Cup game, he looked like the most likely goal scorer in the last 20, 30 minutes. But he was running the show. As you said, he can play that role too as a playmaker.
And as such, even at like the young age that he has, it's also testament to his maturity level on the field and his decision making. Even after some learning games last season, playing against better players.
Yeah.
I think this past game, Darwin didn't look as good.
No.
And that's a lot of it probably has to do with the way Danny was just positioned on the field and how he can step to press people quickly.
Yeah, I thought there was something symbolic about him scoring against Houston, because it was that Dynamo game where he got called out last year for the Quintero. What a difference a few months makes. So let's go from someone at that end of his career to someone who's absolutely in the prime of his prime years in his career. Uncrack. How's that pronunciation?
Uncrack.
Uncrack.
You're close.
Uncrack. But for those who aren't familiar with the lingo as much, what would you use uncrack in Spanish to try and signify?
He's just the man.
He's the
man in soccer. He's some crack.
Yeah.
You want that guy to have the ball. You want that guy to have as many chances as possible. And Driussi's are a crack.
Uncrack being Sebastian Driussi, of course, who was actually, we're saying the MLS analysts get a lot of things wrong. They got this right, I think. He was the MLS Player of the Month for April, and deservedly so.
For sure. He's been a driving force for the team. Again, if you only watch the camera view, you won't get the complete package of what he is as a player. So invite everybody to come to the stadium and not necessarily follow the ball.
You're selling tickets now, Sonny. I love it.
I'm just saying, don't follow the ball. Just follow what he does on the field and how he moves and where he's looking. That's why he's the crack.
Yeah. And his goal, he almost made that look easy against Houston, and I'm sure you can confirm it was anything but what he did.
That's not easy at all. He does make it look easy, which I think that's just of how much skill he has. So, again, scoring goals is not easy. Consistent of scoring goals. He's not our center forward, and he's still producing goals, assists. He's always around causing problems. And I think not only that, the other teams are obviously, they watch video and they see that Driussi's dangerous. He's having a lot more people on him and around him, and you can see how they close spaces so he doesn't have spaces, doesn't have enough space. In Houston, he was dropping back probably as the furthest I've ever seen him drop back to get the ball, because he felt like he wasn't getting the ball. So teams are obviously making it as difficult as possible, and for a player who's that creative can still find space. They messed up one fraction of a second, turns puts it away, and game over.
Yeah. And as you said, dropping deep, taking other defenders with him, shifting other players around, opens up space. I mean, I think the Danny Pereira goal was notable for him arriving with no one on him as a result of Driussi switching, Fagundes switching.
We have some definitely creative players up top. Maxi, Fagundes, Ring, Driussi, like everybody that plays up top has a soccer brain. So it definitely helps for people moving in and out of spaces. Makes it difficult to mark, and it's makes it unpredictable because I feel like Driussi sometimes can roam out and players can come in, and it feels like Josh is giving a lot more freedom. Danny going forward and Ring perhaps dropping off into his space. So it makes it hard to stop for the other team because you never know like how they're going to present themselves and who's moving where, and should you follow your guy, should you not follow your guy. It's hard.
As you get more and more notoriety in the league and what you're doing becomes more apparent to other teams, they, as you say, try and stop you by any means possible. And we're starting to see that more now with Driussi. There was that Tim Parker challenge where he almost cut him in half. But you know, how do you avoid getting injured? I mean, that's what all Austin fans are wondering. I mean, that's a possible question to answer. But
he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
And he's strong, and he's always looking over his shoulder. He knows when they're coming. So I don't think that's too big of an issue for him. Yeah. But the second people start or stop playing soccer and are looking to maybe like get stuck in is the second they're probably already losing.
Right.
They forget to play the game, and they're just worried about, like, how can I injure somebody? Never really works.
Yeah. You'd like to see the referees give a little more protection.
They should have given a red to
Parker?
Well, no, not to Parker. To Gasca.
Cascadia, the Panamanian.
Had a yellow card and then got 6 other fouls.
Yeah.
Never a red. So, mind-boggling to me.
Yes, indeed. All right, so another victory. By the way, 6 wins in 9 games now for Austin FC. Here's a little teaser for you. How many games did it take us to win 6 last year?
I don't even want to guess.
26.
26.
We got win number 6 of the season against the LA Galaxy last season in mid-September. So it was game number 26. We're there in 9 games this year. And we got the Galaxy coming to town. So let's talk about them. The enemy. I think a lot of people have been salivating for what's on the menu this month with all the games against the top teams, and undoubtedly the Galaxy are one of those now in the West, even though, like us, they missed the playoffs last year. They're clearly playing on a different level this year under Greg Vanney, aren't they?
They are. But I think Galaxy has to be more worried about Austin FC than Austin FC about Galaxy. Coming into our house, knowing the results that we've got at home, any team that comes, be it Galaxy, Seattle, LAFC, I think they're coming in a lot different than what they were coming in last year. And I don't think our team's phased now. I feel like we've gone through every single scenario that's happened. So to me, if it wouldn't be a big game. It would be Galaxy need to be worried about us, and not us worried about the Galaxy.
Yeah. And so far, their form and the way they've approached games suggests that they will come here and perhaps bunker in a little bit, look to hit on the counter-attack. They're not the highest scoring team in the league. They only scored 10. Chicharito has half of those.
5, yeah. I think a lot of teams are going to end up doing that to us.
Yeah.
So it is hard to do, hard to score. But if you can score early, then their game plan's just totally destroyed. And then slowly but surely they have to come out and play. Then more spaces in the back. So hopefully we can continue this streak at home of scoring first and scoring early.
Yeah. Galaxy have a great defensive record, but that will be put under duress.
That's
we
right.
Imagine. We hope on Sunday. They've only conceded 5 goals, but you look at their back line, Sonny, and it's interesting. I know you're a big fan of Araujo, their right back, but they have Raheem Edwards, who's a very attacking left back, 2 centre backs, Zavaleta and Williams, who I think can be got at. Jonathan Bond in goal, who was one of the busiest goalies last year, and hopefully he'll be busy on Sunday night too.
They're going to have their defensive hands full with our attacking power. So as long as we stay how we have been playing, and I don't think mentally this is going to be a game that they're worried about.
Yeah.
Much less. We should hopefully see another 3 points.
Yeah.
Keep grinding out those wins, and hopefully the league starts to take notice more.
Eventually they'll have
They'll
to.
have to when we're just
It's going to
so
be
far ahead.
It's going to be an oven. It's going to be a furnace on Sunday night, 6 o'clock in front of a national audience on FS1, and probably that's going to favor us too, isn't it? I mean, we already played it. I mean, it was pretty hot last week in Houston. The Galaxy.
They're not going to be ready for it.
No.
Not for the heat.
At 6 o'clock, it's still going to be mighty warm.
It's going to be very hot
Yeah.
and sweaty, and the sun's still going to be out. So I think we can take advantage of that. And being on the national stage, I think as a player, knowing that the game's national, if you're
To put an extra pep in your step a little bit?
I think it does. If you're the type of player that feels like you can move even further up than Austin FC to Europe or something like that, and you know that everybody's watching, it's a good stage to score some goals for sure.
Yeah, it's a really good point because the national games don't only go out to the national audience here. They're the game. I mean, I have buddies who watch in England. Those are the games that are on live on Sky Sports in England, all around Europe, and given the time difference, it'll almost be prime time over there as well. So let's get on to Sonny's sentimiento. Not the Lahoud mood. We know what the Lahoud mood is. He's on the beach
right now,
with a frothy umbrella in his hand. Yeah, exactly. But the Sonny sentimiento, your keys to the game against the Galaxy, what do you think they have to do to get the 3 points other than score more than them?
That's the easy one. To me, the most important using the temperature to our advantage.
Yeah.
I'd go out 100 miles per hour first 20 minutes to see if I can score a goal. Scoring a goal, I think, opens up and changes the game. You obviously have to keep an eye out for Chicharito. He's dangerous. He's smart. He didn't play on the teams that he played for if he wasn't a good player. And I think we struggle a little bit with these balls in behind, and he's a forward that moves in behind defenders like if that was his only job in life, because he does such a good job at it. So definitely keep our eyes out for him. And I think on the sides, you said that they've got attacking outside backs. So how can we attack more so they're not getting that ability to go forward and be dangerous against us?
Yeah, he said come out and play at pace. And Josh Wolf has already shown he's not afraid to use all 5 substitutes. Yeah. And changing up both fullbacks has been a regular occurrence for him,
it's
isn't
helped.
it? Yeah. No, yeah, it's a
They
lot of
come
the
in
fullbacks.
fresh, yeah.
And
have definitely came in and assist and played important roles in the goals that have been scored. So great job to our outside backs.
Yeah, indeed. Well, it's nice that he's actually got 4 to choose from. You can choose 2 every time and have the other 2 waiting in the wings. It's worked out very well. So that's the LA Galaxy game on Sunday. Just before we close, a moment of gratitude, and we already talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think our moment of gratitude should be to the backup guy who's now going to be in the spotlight, Andrew Tarbell. Came in and, as you said, did really well in trying circumstances against Houston on Sunday. Now he gets a start. This is actually going to be the first time he's played at Q2 in a competitive game. He played a friendly, but his only appearance last year was on the road too. So big night for him, I think, in the national spotlight. But a great guy in the locker room. That's why I'm giving him a moment of gratitude. He's been like many backup goalkeepers. They have to be patient, don't they? They have to be team players.
It's one of the hardest jobs because that it's not very often that the goalie is going to get subbed out for injury or for playing purposes. So it's a difficult position to give your all every single day, knowing that at the end of the day you might not get a lot of minutes. But to me, he was the MVP of the game because it is not easy to come. And in his mind, I'm sure he's warming up for the game just like any other game, take some shots. But once the game starts, your mind kind of goes into cruise control watching the game. And then from 1 second to the next, like stand up, you're actually going into the game. I don't know if they even kick the ball back into his hands or not. And making a save right away, that's huge. And I think it's huge for the team because you don't want your back line thinking that the backup goalie isn't strong enough to be there.
Yeah.
And he stood the test. So to me, do I think he's going to be nervous about playing at Q2 against Galaxy? Probably not, because that situation that he was in was probably the hardest situation to be in. So he handled himself very well, and it's great to have not only outside backs as subs, but backup goalies too.
Yeah. And just a reminder, really, Tarbell is, I think we're fortunate to have such a seasoned backup. I mean, he's not a young kid. He's not a young keeper. He's played many years in the league. He was on a championship winning team with the Columbus Crew. He played for the Earthquakes, played for San Jose, so he's more than used to games against the Galaxy. Maybe there's even an extra little spring in his step.
I think he's going to enjoy it for sure.
Yeah. So Tarbell in for Brad Stuver. So much to look forward to on Sunday. This has been a great once again, Sonny. Thanks for
it's fun talking soccer.
Thanks for the pleasure of your company. We'll do it again ahead of the RSL game next week, which you're going to call with me in the booth. England, Mr. Lahoud is still going to be on his way back from Fiji. The never-ending
nice,
honeymoon.
exactly. That's nice.
But this Sunday, remember, it's the national guys, FS1. I think there's going to be all sorts of national attention on this game. A lot of eyes on Q2 Stadium. 6 o'clock is the start time. Hope you'll watch it, and hope you'll join us here next time. Till then, see ya.